today? Yung ating final pre-board, right? So, well, okay naman yung score, but hey guys, discuss naman tayo ng ano ba today? Yung ating final pre-board, right? So, well, okay naman yung score, but meron lang mga items na medyo, I think, na medyo mas challenging than the others. Okay, so again, ang i-discuss lang natin is yung mga items na sobrang dami nagkamali. Okay? Kasi the others naman, I think you really know them already. Okay? Sige. So, final pre-board tayo. Okay. So, number 1, guys. Alright? Okay kayo dito? Letter B ang answer natin. Alright? Number 2. Okay? Okay rin kayo dito. Letter B rin ang answer natin. Okay? Next. Number 3. Okay? Okay pa rin kayo. Very good. Letter C tayo ha. Letter C. Number 4. Okay, number 4. Letter A. Right? Letter A. Number 5. Ito. Medyo, medyo challenging. Okay? DOC the following day. 6,000 due on January 1, 6,000 on Jan 15, 6,000 on January 31, 6,000 on Feb 15, 6,000 on Feb 28, and 6,000 on March 15. All the debts are unsecured except for the one on February 28. The party stipulated that C may demand payment on or before the due date of each debt. Assume that today is February 16. B, however, has not yet paid any to debt. He has in his possession 3,000 pesos with which he intends to pay C. Babayad daw siya. So, what is our answer here? Okay? Here's our answer here is C. D may not apply the debt to any of the 4 debts that have become due today. Bakit? Guys, remember, your application of payment, di ba special mode of payment yan? Ang kailangan mo bantayan, okay, is special mode of payment siya. That means, payment pa rin siya. So, you still need to follow yung rules natin on payment. Alright? So, one of the rules of payment is, di ba yung 1248 yan. Unless there is a stipulation to the contrary, the creditor cannot be compelled to partially receive the prestations in which the obligation consists. Ano ibig sabihin nun? The creditor cannot be compelled to accept partial payment. Okay? So you cannot apply it. Diba? You cannot apply it. So, ano kasi mangyayari dyan? Diba? Mamimili mo na si debtor. Pag hindi si debtor, mamimili si creditor. Pag hindi nakapili yung dalawa, tayo yung gamit yung batas, yung proportionate, depending on the burden. Ngayon, remember, yung pagpili ni debtor, yung choice niya to apply payment is still subject to the rules on payment itself. And one of which is the payment in full. The prestation must be performed fully. And the creditor cannot be compelled to accept partial payment. Kaya letter C ang sagot natin dyan. Kasi tingnan mo, 6,000 lahat. Pera mo 3,000 lang. So you cannot choose to apply it on a debt na mas malaki kaysa dun sa ipapambayad mo. Bakit? Partial payment dun. Alright? Sige. So, next. Number 6. Okay tayo dito. Number 6. Letter C ang sagot. Okay? Let's go to contract. Number 7. Okay tayo dito. Okay, number 7 to. Which of the following contract is void? Letter D ang sagot natin. Okay? Next. Number 8. Ito, medyo marami nagkamali dito. Now, Brad, without the authority of Lester, owner of a specialized Sports Turbo Levo mountain bike, okay, sold the same in his name to Jason. So, binenta ni Brad yung bike ni Lester kay Jason. Okay? Binenta niya in his name. So, parang si Brad yung nagbenta. Right? Now, the contract between Jason and Brad is, letter D ang sagot. Right? Kasi remember, ang requirement lang ng contract natin is COC. Diba? Kasi sale ito, so COC lang. Consensual. Wala namang sinabi na kailangan na ikaw may-ari. So, situation na to, magkakaproblema ka lang. I mean, the contract is okay. Kasi may consent, object, may consideration. Wala problema. Ngayon, magkakaroon ka lang ng aberya dyan. One, kailangan mo na mag-perform ng obligation. Okay? So, remember, yung status ng contract mo at perfection is not affected by anything that you do upon consummation already. Except na lang kung may ratification or yung confirmation. Okay? Pero wala namang ganun dito. So, kung valid siya nung perfection natin, kasi merong COC, kahit ano pang mangyari afterward, after the point of perfection, no matter what happens afterward, hindi na mapapalitan yun. Okay? Valid pa rin siya. So, magkakaroon na lang ng liability for damages kasi hindi ka makakapag-perform ng obligation mo. However, that doesn't change the fact na the contract is valid. Alright? So, number 8, letter D ang sagot natin. So, number 9, okay kayo dyan. Of course, that is void, letter C. Okay? Number 10, Ano na tayo? Okay? Kailangan, letter C, void. Okay, next. Lester. Okay rin kayo dyan. Okay, letter D ang sagot natin dyan. Number 11. Ba, okay pa rin tayo ah. Okay tayo. Letter A, all are true. Okay, number 12. Okay. Okay pa rin. Very good, guys. Very good. Okay, so letter B ang sagot natin sa number 12. Now, let's go to the ifs. Right? Okay. Number 13. Okay kayo lahat dyan? Letter B ang sagot. Number 14. Okay pa rin. Galing nga. Letter D. Right? Number 15. Letter B. Sagot natin. Right? So, let's move now to credit transaction. Okay? Number 16. Ito, medyo nagka-problema tayo. Sige. Brad borrowed 1 million from Lester, the debt being payable in 6 months. To secure the debt, Brad promised to pledge his ring within 2 weeks. 2 weeks had already lapsed, but Brad had not yet constituted the pledge. Consider the following. Statement 1. Lester may demand the constitution of the pledge. Tama yun. Okay. Statement 2. Lester may not demand immediate payment of the debt. Ayan, false yan. Mamaya, paliwanag natin. Statement 3. Lester will be entitled to damages interest on the 1 million loan due to failure of Brad to perform his obligation to constitute the security. Mali rin mo. Okay? So, bakit? Bakit ganyan? Kasi guys, remember, yung promise to constitute a pledge is, ano lang yan, a personal action. Pwede may compel. Okay? Pwede may compel. Kunyari, katulad ng situation na to, nangako si Brad, so may promise to constitute a pledge. Ngayon, pag hindi niya ginawa yun, yes, pwede mong i-compel na mag-constitute siya ng pledge kasi may promise nga. However, ang effect niyan, ang other effect niyan guys, is yung 1198, yung loss of the benefit of the period. Okay? Bakit? Pag tinignan mo yung 1198 guys, excuse me, yung number 2. Okay? So when he does not furnish to the creditor the guarantees or securities which he has promised, ano mangyayari nun? So kapag nangako ka raw na magko-constitute ka ng pledge, tapos hindi mo tinuloy yun, yung period mo to pay, mawawala. Eh di ba sabi dito 6 months? Sabi, babayaran daw yung 6 months ng 1 million. Kaso lang, hindi mo tinupad yung pangako mo regarding the security. So ang nangyari, you lost the benefit of the 6 months. So anong mangyayari kapag nawala yung 6-month period? Demandable na siya at once. Alright? Kaya yung statement 2 natin false yan. Dapat, Lester may demand immediate payment. Alright? Now, yung statement 3 naman, okay? So, akala ko ba, demand immediate payment? Hindi dapat, may interest na yan, may damages na yan. Okay guys, yung statement 3 mali. Kasi di ba anong rule natin? No demand, no delay. E pag no delay, walang damages, walang interest. Yun yung nangyari dyan. That's why, sa number 16, ang sagot natin, letter D. Okay? Only 2 are false. Statement 1, tama yun. 2 and 3, false. Alright? So, excuse me, number 17. Tama kayo dito. Very good. Letter D ang sagot natin, number 17. Number 18. Tama rin kayo. Very good. Okay? Letter D ang sagot natin, number 18. Okay? So, let's go to, okay? Saan tayo? Truth in lending na. Truth in lending. Siyempre, number 1, bawal magkamali dyan. Okay? Letter A ang sagot. Number 2. Number 19 yung kanina, tapos ito, number 20. Okay, number 20 ito. Ito medyo marami nagkamali. The Truth in Lending Act states that the policy of the state to protect its citizens from lack of awareness from the true cost of credit to the user by assuring a full disclosure of such cost with a view of preventing uninformed use of credit to the detriment of national economy. Okay? So, yun naman yung purpose of the state. Bakit natin inulit-ulit? Para maalala mo, para kapag ka medyo nalilito ka or medyo nag-mental block ka, merong way para ma-trigger ang memories or at least mag-guide ka sa panghuhula. Okay? So, consider the following. Statement 1. Certificates of deposit. Statement 2. Credit line arrangement. Statement 3. Initial public offering of bond. Which of the following are outside the scope of TILA? Okay. Kaya ang sagot natin dyan, letter C. Lahat yan hindi kasali. Bakit? Ano nga yung requirement natin sa TILA? Credit transactions with a finance charge and the creditor sets the terms. Okay? Creditor sets the credit terms. Tingnan mo buti. Certificates of time deposit. So, dito sa certificates of time deposit, sino ba ang debt? Ano yan, di ba? Yan ay, magdi-deposit ka sa bangko. Tama, di ba? Sino ba ang creditor dyan? Sino ang creditor dyan? Di ba yung nag-deposit, yung depositor, yung creditor? So, yung credit transaction na to, okay, yung debtor ay yung bangko. Okay, yung bangko ang debtor dyan. Eh kapag nag-time deposit ka, sino ba nag-set ng term? Ikaw ba o yung bangko? Di ba yung bangko? So, ibig sabihin, the debtor sets the credit term. O di ibig sabihin, yung requirements ng TILA natin, hindi mo na na-comply. So, hindi covered yan. Okay? Unahin natin yung 3. Statement 3. Initial public offering of bonds. Guys, yung bonds, di ba yan? Yung example natin. Pag sa bonds, guys, di ba yung mag-i-issue ng bonds ang corporation. Okay? Tapos, bibili tayo ng bonds na yon. Tapos, after a certain period, either may periodic interest yan or yung sa dulo lang. Pero either case, you will earn interest and you will get the principal back. So, sa situation na yun, sino ba ang debtor, sino ang creditor? Sino ba nangungutang? Diba? Yung corporation ang nangungutang dyan. Tapos tayo, yung bumili ng bond, tayo ang creditor. So, sa situation na yun, sino ba ang nag-set ng term? Tayo ba? O yung corporation? Di ba yung corporation yan? Laging ano yan, di ba? Yung Corporation XYZ issued 10%, 5 million bond. So, siya ang nagsiset. Kung ang debtor ang nagsiset, again, outside na ng Truth in Lending Act yan. Hindi siya covered. Alright? Next. Last, ito yung medyo tricky. Credit line arrangement. Guys, take note of this. Take note of this. Ang credit line arrangement ay hindi po credit transaction yan. Okay? Ang credit line po is just a promise. Okay? A promise to enter into a loan. Okay? Promise pa lang. Wala pang loan talaga. Wala pang utang dyan. Wala pang credit transaction dyan. Nangangako ka pa lang. Although siniset mo kung magkano yung pwedeng utangin, ano yung term pag ng utang na siya, still, that doesn't change the fact na ang credit line ay hindi po loan. Hindi po siya credit transaction. Okay? It may be a credit arrangement, pero hindi pa siya credit transaction. It is just a promise to enter into a loan. So kung wala pang loan, wala pang credit transaction, hindi outside yan ang Truth in Lending Act. Alright? So sa number 20, ang sagot natin, letter C. Okay? All of them are outside the scope of the Truth in Lending Act. Okay? Sige. Punta naman tayo sa Batas Pambansa bilang 22 and estafa. So number 21. Okay, tama pala kayo lahat dito. Sige. So the answer here is letter A, guys. Okay, 21, letter A. 22. Okay pa. Okay rin. So number 22, guys, letter C ang sagot natin. Alright? Yeah. Next, we go to partnerships. Ayan. Number 23. Number 23, okay tayo? Letter C ang sagot. Okay? Number 24. Okay. Letter D ang sagot natin, ha? Number 24. Okay kayo dito? Sabagay, basic naman, di ba? Kayang-kaya, walang problema. Okay? Next, number 25. Okay, 25. Okay din? Letter A tayo. Number 26. Galing ah. Number 26. Letter A pa rin ang sagot. Okay? 27. Okay, number 27. Letter C ang sagot natin. Okay, letter C. Okay. Number 28. Okay, number 20, okay ba? Yeah, okay kayo dito. Number 28, letter C. Okay, so partnership. Basically, mastered nyo na yan. Galing ha? Galing. Okay. Okay, number 29. Ito, medyo nadali tayo. Corporations na pala tayo. Corporations. Guys, ito yung bulk ng exam ha. So, medyo, galingan natin dito. So, 29. AAA Corporation is a wholly owned subsidiary of XYZ Corporation. To support the business of AAA, XYZ agreed to give its corporate guarantee to the loan of AAA Corporation. Okay? What is required so that the corporate guarantee will be valid? Ayan, medyo kailangan mo basahin yung corporation code. Okay? Well, dapat na binabasa mo yun. Guys, the answer here is letter C. You need the articles to provide this power. Bakit? Remember, ano ba yung situation? Merong utang ang ibang entity. Kahit subsidiary mo yan, di ba? Kahit na fully owned subsidiary mo, under the doctrine of separate juridical personality. Yung treatment yan, they are different people. They are different persons. Ngayon, anong ginawa? Essentially, nangutang yung isa. Tapos, sabi mo, pag hindi siya nagbayad, ikaw magbabayad. Okay? Guys, hindi po yun express power, hindi yun implied power, hindi yun incidental power. Okay? Kapag gusto mong gawin yun, you need to, okay, yung corporate guarantees na yan, okay, you need to amend your articles of incorporation. Or kung titingnan mo yung articles of incorporation mo, dapat specifically nakalagay yun. Alright? So remember guys yung guarantee, yung mga ganitong arrangement, for the corporation to be able to guarantee the debt of another person, okay, dapat merong express power na nakalagay sa articles of incorporation niya. Alright? And of course, syempre, corporate power is exercised by the board. Dapat yung board mag-approve doon. Majority of the quorum. Okay? I hope you get that, ha? Intindihin mo yung situation na nangyari. Okay? Ikaw ang magbabayad doon sa utang ng iba. Okay? So that is not an express power. Wala yun. Hindi nga siya implied, hindi rin siya incidental power. Walang ganun. Alright? So you need to state that specifically in your articles of incorporation. Alright? Sige. Where are we? Ayan, number 29 yun ha. Number 29, letter C ang sagot natin. Number 30? Okay, number 30. Okay kayo dito. So number 30, letter C. Okay? Number 31. Okay pa rin? Letter B, ang sagot natin, number 31. Number 32, okay, basic lang. Okay, number 32 is letter C, ang sagot natin. Number 33, okay, 33. Okay pa din. Letter C also, sagot natin. Number 34, okay, number 34. Okay, galing ah. Letter B, sagot natin. Okay, galing guys. Good job, good job. Tapos number 35. Okay, 35 na ba? Yeah, 35. Oh, okay pa din. 35, letter B. Sagot natin ha. 35, letter B. Very good, guys. Very good. Very good. Next, number 36. Okay, number 36. Okay. 36 is, okay pa din. Alright? Okay tayo, 36. Okay? So, number 37, saka 38. Ayan, okay. Medyo nahirapan yata kayo dito. So, 37. ABC has 7 shareholders, P, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z, okay, who are concurrently members of the board. Director T, in accordance with the bylaws, called a special meeting of the shareholders and notices of the meeting was sent to all, except for Z, because the corporation has no record of her current address. In that meeting, the attendees unanimously voted in favor of all motions brought forward. Okay. So consider the following. If only X, Y, and Z fail to attend the meeting and resolutions are valid. Okay, void po yan. Okay, kasi remember, kailangan mapadala mo. At least man lang mapadala mo yung letters. Ma-notify mo sila. Remember, sa meeting, walang bulutan. Okay? So, hindi napadalhan si Z, ay syempre, hindi siya makaka-attend. Di ba? Okay? Statement 2. If only T, U, B did not attend the meeting and W protested the improper notice, the meeting and the resolutions are still valid. Okay? Ano yan, guys? Tawag dito? Mali pa rin yan. Okay? Bakit? Kasi, magiging valid lang. Okay? Magiging valid lang yan. Kapag lahat sila naka-attend. Okay? Lahat sila naka-attend, tapos hindi nag-protest. Okay? Hindi nag-protest. Yung hindi napadala ng notice. Alright? Now, dito kasi, si W ang nag-protest. So, wala naman siyang karapatan mag-protest in the first place. Diba? Okay? Now, statement 3, if all shareholders were able to attend the meeting, despite improper notice, the meeting and the resolutions are valid. Ayan, true na yan. Kasi yun yung rule talaga. Okay, guys? Take note lang, kapag shareholders meeting, dalawa ang titingnan mo. Section 49 at saka Section 52. Okay? So, ano ba pinakaiba ng Section 49 at Section 52? If you take a look at Section 49, guys, ito yung notice, ito yung notice ng regular at saka special stockholders meeting. Okay? So, ang sabi dyan, okay, notice of the meeting may be waived, okay, impliedly, provided attendance at the meeting shall constitute a waiver of notice of such meeting, except when the person attends a meeting for the purpose of objecting to the transaction of any business because the meeting was not lawfully called or convened. Yung tao daw na hindi na notify, yun ang magpo-protest. Okay? So, kung siya rin ang may karapatan, mag-waive no effect. Kung pumunta siya tapos wala siyang sinabi, walang problema yun. Alright? Walang problema yun. Now, excuse me. Ang titingnan mong next is yung Section 15. Ang title nun, Time and Place of the Meetings. Ito, kailangan na yung may shareholders meeting na. Okay? Now, ang may problema naman dito is yung time and place. Okay? So, ang mangyari dito is all proceedings daw in any business transacted within the authority shall be valid even if the meeting is improperly held or called. Remember place and time. Iba ang pinag-uusapan dito. Hindi lang basta yung notice. Okay? Now, provided all the stockholders and members are present or duly represented at the meeting and not one of them expressly states at the beginning of the meeting that their purpose is to object. Okay? So guys, ang ano dito is yung isa, yung may defect sa notice. Dito sa isa, ang defect is something else. So kapag yung notice mo, kunya, hindi ka na-notify, ang sinusunod mo yung Section 49. Okay? Yung Section 50, lahat ng ibang defect. Ganun ang pag-intindi dyan. Okay? So sa ating number 37, ang pinupuntirya ko is yung section, okay, yung Section 49. Okay? So, please be mindful kung alin yung defect. Kung yung notice ang defect, gagamitin mo yung 49. Pero pag yung any other defect ng meeting, kailangan yung Section 50 ang titingnan mo. Okay? So guys, pakisilip lang yung dalawang yun. You'll notice the difference. Okay? Makikita nyo talaga. Basahin mo simula dun sa title no provision. Section 49, ang title niyan, regular and special meetings of the shareholders. Yung Section 50, time and place of the meetings of the shareholders. So magkaiba ang topic, magkaiba ang pinag-uusapan dyan. Kaya magkaiba rin ang effect. Okay? So number 37, ang sagot natin dito is, okay, number 37, Okay? Ay, mali. Dapat A ito. Okay? Dapat A itong number 37. Okay? Only one is true. Okay? So, number 38. Similar. Okay? Pero guys, itong number 38, pwede paki-ignore na lang. Okay? Paki-ignore na lang ito. Kasi nagkamali ako dito. Dapat ito ay meeting ng directors. Okay? Directors meeting dapat to. Hindi meeting ng shareholders. Bakit? Okay? So, guys, again, paki-ignore ito. But I will explain. Okay? Yung number 38, guys, yung directors meeting kasi is not governed by 49, not governed by 50. Ang titingnan mo kasi dyan is yung section 52. Okay, section 52. Okay? Yung section 52, guys, yan yung, ang title niyan, regular and special meetings of the directors, quorum. Okay? So, meetings of the directors, okay, may be held anywhere and so and so. Okay? So, sabi, notice of the regular meeting must be sent to every director unless a longer time is provided. Okay? A director or trustee may waive this requirement either expressly or impliedly. So, anong pinupunteriya ko? Okay? Ngayon, yung notice requirement na yan, okay, tingnan mo ha, kunyari directors meeting to. If only X, Y, and Z fail to attend the meeting, and the meeting and the resolutions are valid. Okay? The meeting and the resolutions are valid. Mali yun. Okay? Kasi, hindi nga naka-attend yung hindi mo na-notify. Mali talaga yan. If Z were able to attend the meeting, but protested on the improper notice, the meeting and the resolutions are still valid. Ay, hindi. Okay, hindi yun ganun. Kasi nag-protest na siya. Okay? Number 3, if only PUV did not attend the meeting and W protested the improper notice, the meeting and the resolutions are still valid. Okay? So, ano yun? Tama yun. Tama yun. Bakit? Kasi, yung hindi napadalhan dito is si G. Diba si G? Ngayon, sa statement 3, nag-attend siya eh. Nag-attend siya. So, ibig sabihin, na-waive na. Okay, na-waive na yung na-waive na yung kung ano man yung defect ng meeting. Okay? So, medyo may nuance lang na kakaiba kapag yung section 52 ang applicable. Okay? So anyway guys, number 38, please ignore that one. Okay? Yung applicable dapat yan ay directors meeting. Okay? Dapat directors meeting yan. Tapos, okay, directors meeting siya. Tapos ang applicable dapat na provision ay section 52. Alright? Okay? I'm sorry about that. Nagkamali yung aking pag-type. I'm sorry. Okay? So again guys, number 38, please ignore. Dapat section 52 yan dahil yan ay dapat directors meeting. Alright? So, paulit-ulit na ako. I'm so sorry. So, 39. Number 39. Okay kayo dito. Okay? 39 is, teka. Ano ba? Yan. Number 39. Okay, number 39. You are, okay, letter B ang sagot. Okay, go to number 40. Okay pa rin tayo. Letter B ang sagot natin. Number 41. Okay, number 41. Okay pa rin tayo. Letter D ang sagot natin. 42. Okay, number 42. Siyempre. Alam natin yan. Alright, so letter B ang sagot. 43. Okay, number 43. Ito, medyo ano tayo dito. So, X, who is an executive vice president of ABC Corporation, okay, a listed company, can be held liable or guilty of insider trading if he, okay, 1. Bought shares of XYZ Corporation, a sister company of ABC Corp, when he learned that XYZ was about to list its share in the stock exchange. Pwede yan. Okay, insider yan. 2. Bought shares of ZZZ Corporation when he learned that ABC would acquire ZZZ Corporation. So yes, ano pa rin? True pa rin yan. Okay? Statement 3, bought shares of ABC Corporation when it was planning to acquire another company to improve its asset base, the news of which increased the price of the shares in the stock exchange. True pa rin yan. So guys, alam niyo naman kung sino yung mga insider, di ba? Yung mga insiders talaga at saka yung some outsiders. So, yung insiders talaga, yung people in the company. Tapos, okay, yung close relationship, mga consanguinity, or yung related parties. Tapos, pwede ring outsiders, yung regulator, okay? Or pwede rin naman na yung nakwentuhan. Okay, yung nakwentuhan. Yung hindi naman talaga siya insider, pero nakakuha siya ng information about the insider. Ayun, magiging insider siya. Ano yung kailangan mong i-take note? Ano ba yung nalaman nila? Okay? Remember guys, yung nalaman nila ay dapat material non-public information. Okay? Ano ba ang material non-public information? Now, it is material non-public if, okay, 1, it has not been generally disclosed to the public and would likely affect the market price of the security after being disseminated to the public in the lapse of a reasonable period of time for the market to absorb the information. Okay? Or B, would be considered by a reasonable person, okay, important under the circumstances in determining his course of action, whether to buy, sell, or hold the security. Okay? So, tingnan nyo, yung given that definition ng material non-public information, applicable lahat yon dito sa situation niya. Kasi tingnan nyo, yung statement 1, Okay? Magtataas ang value ng share nito kasi maglilist sa exchange. Okay? 2. Or at least man lang, magde-decide ka kung kumbaga, yung information na yun, pag nalaman mo, makaka-apekto sa decision mo to whether to buy, sell, or hold. Diba? Kasi maglilist sa exchange. Meaning, nag-IPO siya. Okay? So, meron talagang effect sa decision-making mo yan or sa decision-making process mo at least. Yung 2, bought shares of ZZZ. Diba? When he learned that the corporation will acquire ZZZ. So, ano yun? Again, diba? Meron na naman na instance na pag nalaman yan, ano yan? Tawag dito, may influence yung decision mo to buy, sell, or hold. And number 3, tumaas naman yung presyo. Yun naman yung letter A. Okay? So again, guys, material non-public information. If it has not been generally disclosed to the public and would likely affect the market price of the security after being disseminated to the public and the lapse of a reasonable time for the market to absorb the information. Okay? So that's 1. Second definition would be considered by a reasonable person as important under the circumstances in determining his course of action whether to buy, sell, or hold. So kapag ganyan yung information na nalaman ng insider, tapos, bumili siya ng share or nagbenta siya ng share na involved, ayun, maging guilty ka ng insider trading. Okay? So number 43, guys, all are true. Okay? 44. 44, kamusta kayo dito? Yes! Okay kayo sa number 44? Letter D ang sagot. Okay? 45. The Articles of Incorporation of Legacy Corporation, number 45 na tayo. Legacy Corporation, a construction company, provide for 7 directors. Okay? In the monthly meeting of the Board of Directors held on April 12, Directors A, B, C, D, and E were present. The following resolutions were approved. A resolution for the purchase of 500 pieces of hollow blocks from Ayosto Concrete Enterprises, a sole proprietorship owned by E. So, isang director siya. Okay? B, C, D, E voted for the resolution. Resolution appointing T as the new treasurer of the corporation. A, B, C, D voted for the resolution. Okay? Based on the foregoing, both are valid. Okay? Guys, ang ano dito, okay, ang kailangan mo tandaan dito is yung quorum and voting requirement. Yung una, okay, yan yung self-dealing, di ba? Self-dealing yan. Ang requirement lang naman dyan is basically the same. Ang important lang, is tatandaan mo na yung self-dealing director, 1, dapat hindi siya kasali sa pagbilang sa quorum. And number 2, hindi siya kasama sa voting requirement. Hindi mo siya bibilangin. Okay? So here, ano ang quorum ba dapat? Diba? 7. Okay, 7. Sorry, 7 yung directors. Anong quorum yan? Dapat 4. Okay, 4. So, yun yung quorum mo. Yun yung minimum number required to transact official business. Now, yung voting requirement, guys, is majority of the quorum. So, kung quorum ay 4, okay, 4 kayo. Okay, 4 kayo nandun. Kasi hindi mo bibilangin si E. Diba? Kasi remember, kung self-dealing, yung quorum mo, dapat hindi kasali si E. So, ang quorum dyan ay 4 lang. So, 5 silang pumunta. Kahit hindi mo bilangin si E, may quorum pa din. Alright? So, next mo is yung voting requirement. Yung voting requirement is majority of the quorum. Okay? So, 4 sila constituting a quorum. Anong majority niyan? Diba? 3. Okay, 3 ang quorum. So, ilan ba yung bumoto para dito sa yung purchase of 500 pieces of hollow block? Diba si A, B, C, D, si B, C, D, E ang bumoto. Pero hindi mo bibilangin si E. Diba? Hindi mo bibilangin si E. Kasi nga, siya yung self-dealing eh. Hindi siya kasali sa quorum, hindi rin siya kasama sa voting. But then again, ilan ba ang votes na required? Diba 3? So, valid yun. Kasi, may quorum sila, kahit hindi kasama si E, may quorum na. Tapos, yung voting requirement na attain, kahit hindi mo pa bilangin si E, maaabot mo pa rin yung voting requirement. So, valid yan. Okay? Next, yung resolution naman. Diba? Ang tatandaan mo pag may mga corporate officers na ganito. Okay guys, ang tatandaan mo pag may mga corporate officers na ganyan is yung yung pag dito, kailangan dyan, guys, is majority of all the directors. Okay, majority of all the directors. So, ilan ba yung director? 7. Diba? Yan yung all eh. Diba? All the directors. So, kahit may quorum ka, kaya ang quorum ng 7 is 4. So, 5 naman sila, no problem. Pero yung voting requirement mo, guys, hindi siya based kung ilan yung quorum. Okay? I mean, hindi siya based kung ilan yung nag-attend. Based pa rin siya kung ilan yung directors talaga. Okay? So, nag-a-apply lang to kapag may officers. Okay? So, majority of all the directors kapag ka may officer na ina-appoint or in-elect. So, generally, yung voting requirement natin is just majority of the quorum. Except lang kapag ka officer ang ina-appoint, officer ang in-elect. Kailangan yun, majority of all the directors. So, here, ilan ba ang bumoto? 4. Diba? Majority of all ba yan? Ilan ba yung directors natin? Presumably, there are 7. So, ano bang majority ng 7? Diba 4? So, valid yan. Okay? That is valid. So, number 45, guys, Okay, number 45, letter A ang sagot natin. Both are valid. 46, medyo nahirapan din kayo dito The Articles of Incorporation of Pinnacle Corp provide for 15 directors. Okay. For the year 20X0, only 5 meetings of the board were convened because of difficulty in mastering a quorum. Okay. In view thereof, some transactions of the corporation which required board approval did not materialize, resulting in lost profit. In preparation for the annual meeting of the stockholders, the following were considered by the board of directors as possible resolutions. Bakit ganun? Possible resolutions for approval. Okay, so may mga proposals sila. Okay? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Which of the following proposed solutions may you validly recommend for submission to the stockholder? Okay. Guys, ang valid dyan na pwede mong iparatify sa shareholders is letter B. Resolution 2 at saka Resolution 4. Okay? Bakit? Tingnan mo yung Resolution 1. Amending the bylaws, reducing the quorum to 6 directors. Okay? Hindi pwede yun, guys. Okay, hindi pwede yun. Bakit? Bakit hindi pwede yun? Kasi, remember, yung quorum ay naka-base kung ilan yung directors as stated in your Articles of Incorporation. Okay? So, if gusto mong gawin yan, given the circumstances, 15 daw yung director Kung gusto mong gawing 6, hindi pwedeng yung bylaws ang amend mo. Dapat yung article. Kasi again, yung quorum, okay, is based on the directors as stated in the Articles of Incorporation. So, kung gusto mong baguhin yun, dapat yung articles ang papalitan mo, hindi yung bylaws lang. So, hindi mo pwede i-propose sa shareholders yan. Okay, hindi mo pwede kasi, wala siyang effect. Kahit i-approve nila, hindi pwede yan. Okay? Tapos, yung number 3 naman, okay, pag tinignan mo naman yung number 3, okay, providing a bylaw, allowing directors to send representatives during a board meeting provided the representative is given a notarized SPA. Okay, guys, bakit hindi mo pwede pa-approve to? Kasi, specific provision din yan, guys, na the directors cannot attend the meeting via proxy. Hindi pwede. Kailangan sila mismo. Okay? Kung hindi sila maka-attend diretso, pwede naman sila yung by remote communication. Pwede yun. Okay? Pero, ang directors, guys, hindi pwede mag-attend ng proxy. Okay? Via proxy. Hindi pwede yun. Okay? So, this one, definitely, kahit i-present mo pa sa shareholders yan, kahit i-approve pa nila, actually, hindi yan, walang visa yan. So, you cannot validly recommend that to the shareholder. Okay? So, again, number 46, guys, ang tama, okay, yung pwede mong i-recommend is only resolutions 2 and 4. Yung 1, bawal yun. Bakit? Kasi articles dapat ang inamin. Yung 3, bawal din yun. Dahil, by express provision of law, hindi pwedeng gawin ng directors yan. Hindi sila pwede mag-attend via proxy. Alright? Next, 47. 47. Ay, tama kayo dito. Okay, very good, very good. 47. Letter B ang sagot natin, 48. Okay, okay. Tama pa rin. Letter C tayo. Okay, 48 is letter C. Number 49. Okay, an exchange is an organized marketplace or facility that brings together buyers and sellers and executes trades of securities or commodities. Okay? Which of the following is uncharacteristic of an exchange? Okay? Guys, ang sagot dyan, letter A. An exchange can only be a stock corporation. Okay? Kailangan stock corporation siya. Bakit? Nasa Securities Regulation Code yun. Section 33. Alright? So, tandaan mo lang mabuti. Ang exchange cannot be a non-stock entity. Dapat stock corporation siya. Alright? Number 49, guys, letter A ang sagot natin. Bakit? Kasi it cannot be a non-stock corporation or a non-stock entity. Alright? Next. Number 50. Tama kayo dito. Very good. Okay? Letter B. Okay? Letter B. Number 50, we are letter B. Ito na. Medyo sunod-sunod yatang nagkamali dito. Medyo nahirapan. Bale. Which of the following is a simple amendment in the Articles of Incorporation that requires a vote of at least majority of the board and the vote or written assent of the shareholders representing 2/3 of the OCS or 2/3 of the members? Alin daw yung pwede na may meeting or walang meeting? Yung nasa, Section 15 ng Revised Corporation Code. Diba? Amendment yun, amendment. Pero, sabi doon, pwedeng may meeting kayo, yun yung vote mismo, pero pwedeng walang meeting, yun yung written assent. Okay? Yung in writing na lang, I assent or I consent, so ganyan. Okay? Or I approve, whatever it is. Okay? Now, kailan daw, alin daw dito yung pwede yun? Okay? So guys, the answer here is letter C. Bakit? Tingnan mo yung yung A, B, at saka D. Di ba may sariling provision siya mga yan? Section 36 and 37. Okay, yung corporate term, papalitan mo, 36. Yung increase in capital stock at saka yung bonded indebtedness, 37 yan, section 37. Pag binasa mo yung mga yun, guys, ang nakalagay doon, ratified or vote. Ibig sabihin, kailangan may meeting. Yung section 36 and 37 required yung meeting. Therefore, hindi pwede na written assent lang. Okay? Specific kasi yung requirement. Fundamental changes. Okay? Na merong specific provision, may specific requirement, and one of which is a meeting. Okay? A meeting called for that purpose. Now, kapag nag-browse ka dun sa mga provisions niya, starting section 36 hanggang mga section 40 something, okay? Lahat yun may meeting essentially. Okay? Halos lahat yun may meeting. But, hindi mo makikita dun yung to increase the number of seats in the board. Okay? So, yung number of, kung gusto mo damihan yung yung damihan yung board seat, pwede mong gamitin or pwede mong gamitin justification yung section 15. Yung section 15, general amendment yun. Amendment na pwedeng vote or pwedeng written assent. Alright? Sige. So, number 51, guys, letter C ang sagot natin. Number 52, XYZ Corp is composed of 5 directors. 5 directors. During the election of the board, shareholders A, B, C, D, F, and G were nominated. Okay? Upon garnering sufficient votes, A, B, C, D, and E were elected directors. F, however, with 10 less votes than E, purchased all shares of E after the election. Okay? Ba? Who among the shareholders should be directors? Okay? So guys, the answer here is letter D. Wala na pwede maging director sa kanila. Okay, bakit? Number 1, di ba pagka kapag nag-election kasi kayo, ang sabi dyan, nominees for directors receiving the highest number of votes shall be declared elected. Okay, so plurality, paramihan ng boto. So nananalo ka lang kapag marami kang boto. Pag ikaw yung pinakamaraming mga boto or kayo yung mga pinakamaraming boto. Ano ba nangyari kay F? Di ba? So si E, nanalo daw siya. So ibig sabihin, isa siya sa mga pinakamaraming bumoto. Si F, 10 less than E. So ibig sabihin, hindi siya panalo. So, hindi siya pwedeng umupo. Alright? Now, kahit bilhin niya pa lahat ng shares ni E, that doesn't change the fact na natalo siya sa eleksyon. Alright? Kahit bilhin niya lahat, kahit bilhin niya pa yung shares nila BCD, pati ni A, wala. Kasi talo siya sa eleksyon eh. Alright? Yung boto ang importante. So, remember receiving the highest number of votes shall be declared elected. Yun yung section 23. Now, sir, bakit si E hindi na pwede? Titignan mo naman ngayon yung section 22. Okay? A director who ceases to own at least one share, okay, shall cease to be a director. Again, a director who ceases to own at least one share shall cease to be a director. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Requirement kasi guys, para maging director ka, requirement na may hawak ka kahit isang share lang. Ngayon, kapag nanalo ka na, tapos nawala yung share mo, mawawala yung upuan mo. Automatic yun, disqualified ka na agad. Bakit? Kasi continuing requirement kasi yun. Dapat, hawak mo yung share nung tatakbo ka, nung nanalo ka, at kung gusto mo tumakbo ulit. At any point in time na nawalan ka ng shares na hawak, at in zero yung shares mo, tanggal ka sa pagiging director lang. And in fact, tanggal ka sa pagiging shareholder. Kasi wala ka ng shares na hawak eh. Alright? So again guys number 52, ang titingnan mo dyan is section 22 at saka section 23. Alright? So 52, our answer is letter D. Neither E or F can be considered a director. Okay? Number 53. Okay kayo dito. Very good. Okay? So the answer for number 53 is letter B. Okay, letter B. 54. Okay? Okay. So medyo medyo mabigat. Okay? So guys, ganito yan. Consider the following. The answer here guys is letter B. Okay, letter B. Tama yung statement 1. Okay, tama yan. As in, directly lifted from a provision. Yung statement 2, listed din from a provision yan. Okay, listed din. Yung statement 3, okay, ang nagpamali dyan is, diba, the transfer of uncertificated shares shall only be valid insofar as the corporation is concerned when a transfer is recorded by appropriate book entries in the securities intermediary so as to show the names of the parties to the transfer and the number of shares transferred. So guys, hindi yan ganun ha. Ang sabi dapat, okay, is, sorry, the transfer of uncertificated shares shall only be valid so as far as the corporation is concerned. Corporation ito ha, not between the parties. Yung parties and the corporation. Okay? Sa mata ng corporation ang sinasabi dito. When a transfer is recorded in the books of the corporation. Okay? Mali. Yun yung mali. The transfer is recorded in the books of the corporation. So, para maging binding yan, say sa corporation, dapat mag-reflect yung transaction ninyo sa libro niya. Okay? Valid, yes, between the parties. Okay lang, no problem. Kayo-kayo lang naman yan eh. But if you want the corporation to recognize that transaction, then there should be a proper recording doon sa libro ng korporasyon. Okay? This is section 43.3 ng Securities Regulation Code. Alright? So, binibigyan ko lang kayo ng mga ganito para at least, kasi minsan the BOA will give you curveball. So, at least ito alam mo. Okay? Now, number 54, guys, only one is false. Okay? Only one is false. Yung statement 3 yon. Bakit siya naging false? Kasi dapat in the books of the corporation. Alright? So, next. Number 55. Aba, medyo nahirapan din yata tayo dito. Oh, okay. So, the board should designate a lead director among the independent directors if the chairman of the board is not independent. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, yung chairman is, well, not independent. So, ano siya? Tawag dito? Hindi ma-compromise. Pero anyway, hindi siya independent. Including if the position of the chairman of the board and CEO are held by one person. Yung CEO, guys, andun yung president. Okay? Andun yung president. So, the president or the CEO is the head of management. So, ibig sabihin, ano siya? Executive officer yan. Executive director yan. Okay? Now, the functions of the lead director shall among others are the following except. So, alin daw ang ginagawa ng lead director? Guys, the answer here is letter B. Okay, letter B. Bakit hindi yan? Remember, guys, yung lead director ay dapat independent. Okay, independent. Kaya ka nag-a-appoint ng lead director is because nanganganib yung korporasyon na makontrol ng mga executive. Okay, ng mga executive. Bakit? Kasi, tingnan mo to, yung CEO and board are one and the same. Remember, yung chairman of the board, guys, serves as a liaison between the board and the management. It just so happened na yung management is headed by the president or the CEO. Ngayon, paano siya maging liaison or paano siya magiging bridge kung iisang tao lang yung head ng management at saka yung chairman of the board? Okay? Mawawala ng accountability, mawawala ng oversight. Kasi remember, guys, management is different from the persons charged with governance. Yung oversight function. Yung board, guys, hindi sila yung management, sila yung oversight. Okay? Although some members of the board can be part of management, okay? Yun yung mga executive directors yung involved sa day-to-day, especially the president. Okay lang yun. But generally speaking, yung board dapat is must oversee what the management is doing. Alright? Now, nag-a-appoint sila ng lead director to maintain that. Kasi, ito nga, yung chairman, hindi siya independent. Yung chairman ay part ng management. So, kailangan nilang mag-appoint ng lead director to maintain the independence of the board, to maintain its supervision, okay, to maintain its oversight function. Right? Now, dahil in charge yung lead director sa mga independent directors, okay, siya yung lead siya ng lahat ng independent directors. Siyempre, wala siyang pakialam dapat dun sa executive. Okay? So, yung letter B mali. Because yes, you have the power to convene and chair meetings. Pero dapat sa independent directors lang. Okay? Kasi remember, kaya ka nga in-appoint as lead director para kanino? Para sa mga independent directors. Alright? So, again, number 55, letter B ang sagot. Bakit siya mali? Okay, bakit siya mali? Kasi, dapat, non-executive directors lang. Ang non-executive directors, guys, yan yung independent directors. Okay? Sige. Number 56. Okay, 56. Yes, okay tayo. Insider, yung kanina. Okay, related dun sa kanina. Next, 57. Very good. Okay. Both are true. No problem. Number 58. Okay, okay rin tayo dyan. All of the following are true. Okay? All of the above. Okay? Now, let's go to cooperative na. Number 59. Okay, mali. Tama, number 59, guys. 59, consider the following. Credit cooperative is one that promotes and undertakes savings and lending services to its members. It generates a common pool of funds in order to provide financial assistance to its members for productive and provident purposes, and whose operations are primarily subject to the regulatory powers and supervision of the CBE. True yan. Okay, true yan. Ay, teka. Tapusin mo natin. Which of the following are true? Okay, letter C, 1 and 2. Okay? So, financial services cooperative is one organized for the primary purpose of engaging in savings and credit services and other financial services whose operations are subject primarily to the regulatory powers and supervision of the CBE. True din yan. Okay? Kasi yun nga yung sagot, 1 and 2. Okay, 3 and 4, mali. Let's see kung bakit. Cooperative bank is one organized for the primary purpose of providing a wide range of financial services to cooperatives and their members whose operations are subject primarily to the regulatory powers and supervision of the CBA. Guys, tama yung first part. Saan nagkamali dyan? Dun sa regulatory powers and supervision of the Bangko Sentral. Okay, Bangko Sentral. Kasi bangko na siya eh. Okay? So, yung operations nila, kapag ito yung mga special cooperatives, diba? Kapag cooperative bank, yung operations mo mismo, yung pagiging bangko mo, yun yung operation. Ang primary regulator mo dyan is of course the regulator of the bank, Bangko Sentral. Okay? Yung pagiging cooperative mo, yun yung CBA. Okay? Pero yung operations mo mismo, or in other words, yung pagiging bangko, dapat Bangko Sentral yan. Alright? So, understand bakit yun mali, ha? The first part is okay. Tama yun. Yan talaga definition ng cooperative bank. Yung dulo lang. Regulatory powers and supervision of the Bangko Sentral. Okay? So, next. 4. Insurance cooperative is one engaged in the business of insuring life and property of cooperatives with their members, whose operations are subject primarily to the regulatory powers and supervision of the Insurance Commission. Again, special cooperative. Yung operations niya or yung pagiging insurance company niya ay under the supervision of, syempre, yung regulator ng insurer. Sino? Yung Insurance Commission. Again guys, yung pagiging cooperative mo, doon pa rin sa CBA yan. Doon pa rin magre-registro, okay, doon, may reports ka pa din doon, yes. Pero yung operations mo mismo, as an insurance company, ang namamahala doon is syempre, Insurance Commission. Alright? Okay, I hope you get that. Okay? Again, tama yung unang part, ang mali lang yung subject to the regulatory powers and supervision of, dapat, Insurance Commission. Alright? Sige. So, number 59, ang answer natin, letter C. Okay? 60. Tama tayo sa 60. Very good. What is the net surplus? Okay, 180. Okay. Nagkamali tayo sa 61 and 62. Alright, sige, di bale. 61 and 62. Using the same data in the previous number, so yung given lang, okay, what is the total statutory reserve that may be deducted from net surplus? Okay, yung net surplus na compute na. Before computation of the allocation of interest on share capital and patronage refund, assuming that the maximum fund is given for other optional funds. Okay. So, ang sagot natin dyan, guys, is letter A, 54,000. Bakit? Kasi di ba 180. Ang maximum, guys, is 30%. Okay, 30%. Bakit? Yung revolving fund is 10. Okay, community development fund is 10. Tapos yung yung education and training fund is also 10. Alright? So, yun yung mga maximum. So, 30% ang maximum yan. So, 180 times the maximum, which is 30%, anong lalabas doon? 54,000. Alright? So, tandaan mo lang kung ano yung maximum. Kasi di ba meron namang enumerate, meron namang ano yan, di ba may guidelines naman yan sa cooperative code. So, kapag tinanong ka ganito, yung maximum naman usually ang tinatanong dyan. So, again, it is 30%. Naka-divide yan ha, naka-divide yung 30% na yun. Ang inassume lang dito, kasi from the question, ang sinabi, maximum lahat. Alright? Sige. So, 180, okay, 180 times 30%, which is 10, revolving fund. Tapos yung yung community development fund. Tapos yung isa, yung education and training fund. Okay? 10, 10, 10. Alright. Next, using the same data, using the same data in the previous number, what should be the minimum amount allocated for patronage refund? Okay guys, pag ganito ha, okay, minimum amount allocation to patronage refund. Take note, provided however, basahin ko rin batas sa inyo para malinaw, that the amount allocated for patronage refund shall not be less than 30% of the net surplus after deducting the statutory reserve on the based on the principle of equity. Okay? Based on the principle of equity. Yes. So letter A, sagot natin. Okay, letter A ang sagot dyan ha, letter A. Okay. So, patronage refund. Again, amount allocated for patronage refund shall not be less than 30%, okay, 30% of the net surplus after deducting the statutory reserves. So, anong gagawin mo? Diba, 180. Tapos yung kanina, na-compute natin, 54,000 yung statutory reserve. So, 180 minus 54. Tapos, yung number na lalabas doon, yun yung i-multiply mo by 30%. Pag ginawa mo yun, mapapalabas mo ngayon si 3070. Okay? So again guys patronage refund cannot be less. So yun yung minimum. It cannot be less than 30% of the net surplus after deducting the statutory reserve. So ibabawas mo yung statutory reserves muna bago ka mag 30%. Okay? But again guys, yung 30%, that's just the minimum ha? Kasi not less than 30. So you can go higher. Number 63. Okay? The answer here is, tama ba kayo? Yeah, tama kayo. Very good. The answer here is, only 2 are true. Alright? Letter C. Let's go to number 64. Okay, number 64. PDIC. PDIC na. Okay, tama tayo. Okay, number 64. The answer is letter B. Very good. Number 65. Ito, medyo nagkamali ng konti. Di bale. Open-Minded Bank Inc. was placed by the BSP under receivership of the PDIC. Kasi, guys, remember, the statutory receiver of a bank is PDIC. Okay? In said bank, Brad has the following account. And there's a chart. Okay? As a table. How much is Brad's uninsured deposit, which he can no longer claim from PDIC? Okay guys, ganito yan ha. At normally, di ba, tinatanong kung ano yung insured. So, ngayon, titingnan mo lang kung alin yung hindi na makiklaim. So, first, tingnan mo muna ang principles natin dito guys ha. Siyempre, ang savings account, ang maximum, yung individual or single account, ang maximum is 500K. Next principle is, joint accounts are insured separately. Okay? So, separately insured. So, bukod yung bilang nun. For each joint account, may 500,000. Okay? 500,000. Now, yung aggregate ng lahat ng joint account na yon, kasi diba separately insured sila. So, yung aggregate ng joint account na yon, dapat 500 lang din. So, theoretically, ang pwede mong makuha na maximum na pwede mong makuha sa PDIC is 1 million. 500,000 for the individual account and a maximum of 500,000 also for all the joint accounts. Okay? So, ano ba nangyari dito? So, uninsured. Doon sa single account mo or individual account, ang uninsured dyan is, okay, anong uninsured dyan? 100K. Okay, 100K. Now, tapos, okay, ang ano mo, yung joint accounts mo guys, yung joint account, okay? The joint account, ay hindi, sorry. Yung ano mo, yung single account pala, individual, wala palang sobra dyan. Okay, wala palang sobra dyan. Now, yung may problem is yung joint account. Bakit? Kasi yung individual account, yung single account, walang ano yun eh. 500,000 lang siya, di ba? So, walang uninsured yan. Makukuha mo yun buo. But, ang problem dito, maraming joint account. So, tingnan natin. Yung joint account number 1, so, 600 ang laman. So, automatically, merong 100 dyan. Okay, 100 na hindi pwedeng i-insure. Okay? So, itabi mo na yung 100 na yon. Pero, yung 100 na yun ay divided by 4. Bakit? Apat sila kasing may-ari. So, out of the 100 na uninsured, yung kay Brad is 25,000 lang. Alright? Next, tingnan mo yung joint account number 2. Okay, dalawa sila ni Lester. Okay, dalawa sila ni Lester. 500,000 ulit. Okay, 500,000 ang ano dyan. Okay, 700, 500,000, 200. Okay, 200. Okay, 200. Nasaan ba? 200,000 yung uninsured. Okay, 200,000 yung uninsured. Now, 200,000 yung uninsured. Divided by 2 yun. Divided by 2. Okay, divided by 2. So, may 100. Okay? So, ano na yung uninsured ni Brad? 25 dun sa unang account, tapos 100 dun sa pangalawa. Next, Brad and Brad OPC. So, may kahati si Brad, pero juridical person. O, di ba ano yung rule natin dyan? In joint accounts na shared by a juridical and natural person, it is presumed that everything belongs to the juridical person. So, sa joint account number 3, wala pong makukuha si Brad dyan. Okay? Kasi ang assumption, lahat dun sa corporation na yung yung pera, lahat sa kanya. So, wala siyang makukuha dyan. Alright? Next. Joint account number 4. Dalawa sila may ano pa rin. Joint pa din to, and or. Okay? Now, 300. So, covered lahat. Diba? Covered lahat. However, pag dinivide mo yun by 2, may 150. Okay, may 150. Now, ang problem mo dito is, di ba may aggregate ka? May aggregate ka na for all joint accounts, dapat 500,000 ang insured. Yun lang ang pwedeng ma-insure. Okay? Guys, pag binalikan mo yung joint account 1 and 2, di ba ang kanina ang binibilang natin ay Okay, ang binibilang natin ay, ano tawag dito? Kanina ang binibilang natin ay uninsured. Kapag binilang mo yung insured deposit ni Brad, okay? 1. Yung sa joint account number 1, 125 yun. Okay, 125 yung niya dyan, yung insured niya. Sa joint account number 2, 250 ang insured niya. So, ano ka na? Okay? Tawag dito, ilan ka na? 375 ka na. 375. Okay? 125 na lang ang pwede mong ipa-insure sa PBIC. Kasi yung aggregate ng joint accounts mo, dapat 500 lang. So, yung sa joint account number 4, kung hatiin mo yung 300,000, kasi covered yun buo, di ba? Pag hinati mo yung 300,000, 150 yun. So, ang remaining insurable amount mo na lang is 125. So, out of the 150, guys, 125 lang ang may insure. Okay? May maiiwan na 25. Yung part na yon uninsured na. Okay? So, kapag inad mo lahat ng uninsured, yung sa first account, ay sa joint account number 1 is 25,000 ang uninsured. Sa second account, 100,000 ang uninsured. Okay, 125. Doon sa last account, 25 rin ang uninsured. So, 25 plus 100 plus 25, that's 150. Alright? Kaya po dito, ang sagot natin, letter B. Okay? So guys, tingnan nyo mabuti ha. Pag joint account, individually insured yan, separately insured yan, but the aggregate of all joint accounts, ang total mo dapat na insured deposit ay 500,000 pa rin. Okay? So in theory, ang maximum na pwede mong mapa-insure sa TDIC is what? For the individual account, 500,000 total. For the joint account, 500,000 total rin nun. Okay? So that's number 65. Number 66. Aha, tama ba kayo dito? Yes, okay, very good. Letter B ang sagot natin, ha? Number 67. Okay, tama rin. Letter C ang sagot natin. Okay? Ano ba? Oh, anti-money laundering na. Number 69. Ay, sorry, 68. Tama kayo lahat dito. Of course. Okay? Remember guys, that tax evasion is now a predicate crime of money laundering. Okay? So, number 69, tama rin kayo dito. Letter C ang sagot natin. Alright, letter C. Number 70. Okay, within what period must the Anti-Money Laundering Council file in the Court of Appeals a verified ex parte petition for the issuance of a freeze order for purposes of implementing targeted financial sanctions in relation to proliferation of weapons of mass destruction and its financing. So the answer here, guys, is D, none of the above. Walang ganyan. Right? Now, dahil sa RA 11521, okay? 11521. Okay? Now, for purposes of implementing targeted financial sanctions in relation to yan, proliferation of weapons of mass destruction and financing, the Anti-Money Laundering Council shall have the power to issue ex parte an order to freeze without delay. So, kapag yan ang involved, hindi na nila kailangan pumunta sa Court of Appeals. Pwedeng yung Anti-Money Laundering Council na mismo ang mag-issue. Okay? Pwedeng sila na mismo. Ha? Remember, kapag yan ang involved, yung proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, tapos merong targeted financial sanction. Okay? Usually, resolution yun ng yung United Nations. Okay? So again ha, number 70 guys, walang ganyan. Hindi ka na pupunta sa Court of Appeal, diretso na mag-issue yung Anti-Money Laundering Council. Alright? So number 71. Covered transaction refers to Statement 1. Okay? Lagyan natin sagot. Letter C. Okay? So, Statement 1. Transaction in cash or other equivalent monetary instrument exceeding 500,000 pesos. True yan. True. Statement 2. A transaction in excess of 5 million pesos or its equivalent in other currencies in case of casinos. True din yan. Okay? Statement 3. A single transaction exceeding 7,500,000 in cash or on account in cases of real estate developers and brokers. Guys, in cash lang yan. Okay? Hindi po yan on account. Pagka real estate brokers or developers, yung transaction should exceed 7.5 million in cash. Okay? Pag may on account, hindi na yon. Okay lang pag on account. Pero pag in cash ginawa, yan. Magiging covered transaction yan. Okay? Remember real estate, 7.5 million in cash. Okay, in cash naman. Next, number 72. Okay. Consider the following. Statement 1. The prosecution of money laundering and unlawful activity can proceed independently such that a person may be charged with and convicted of both money laundering and the unlawful activity. That's true. Okay, true yan. When the prosecution of both money laundering and unlawful activity are sought, the latter shall take precedence over the former as it is considered a predicate crime. Mali yan. Okay, mali yan. Kasi nga independently nga sila eh. So walang mangunguna yung take precedence. Ibig sabihin yung primacy, yung mangunguna, walang ganon. Okay, kasi nga they can proceed independently, pwedeng parallel. Okay? So false yan statement 2. Statement 3, the elements of unlawful activity, the predicate crime, including the identity of the perpetrators, the details of the commission of the unlawful activity, must be established by proof beyond reasonable doubt in the case for money laundering. False yan. Kasi nga, independent yan. Okay? Ang point dyan, guys, is yung statement 1. The cases, yung money laundering case and yung unlawful activity case can proceed independently from each other. So, hindi sila dependent Okay? Hindi dependent yung conviction or acquittal sa isa dun sa kabila. Ang key dyan is, you have to remember, unlawful activity, the predicate crime and the money laundering offense itself are independent from each other. Okay? Or at least they can proceed independently of each other. Okay? Yeah. So number 72, the answer is B. Okay, only 2 are false. Yung statements 2 and 3 false. Next, number 73. Siyempre, alam mo yan. Okay? Statement, letter A ang sagot na. Next, number 74. Okay, Priya. Mga bago. Okay, so Priya, number 1. Number 74. Only 2 of the statements are true. Okay? So, tama yan, letter A. 75. Tama ba kayo dito? Yeah, tama kayo dito. Okay? 75, the answer is letter A also. Okay? Very good. Very good. Number 76. Dito medyo ano. Alright, teka, balik natin. According to Priya, within 20 days assumption into office, the liquidator shall prepare a preliminary registry of claims of secured and unsecured creditors. The liquidator shall make the registry available for public inspection to provide publication notice to creditors, individual debtors, owners, partners, shareholders on where and when they can inspect it. Okay, tama yun kasi pwede ka mag-object dyan, diba? Or pwede ka mag-challenge ng claim. Okay? Consider the following. Statement 1. Sama tayo. Secured creditors who have waived their security or lien, okay, or have fixed the value of their property, value of the property subject of their security or lien by agreement with the liquidator and is admitted as a creditor for the balance, shall still be considered as a secured creditor. Mali na po yan. Yan po yung false. Okay, false yan ha? Bakit? Kasi you waived your security already, you fixed the value, and you are admitted to the balance only. So ano ibig sabihin yan? Dati kang secured, pero ginawa mo yung mga bagay na yan, you now become unsecured. Okay? Unsecured creditor ka na ngayon. So kapag nag-waive ka, okay, or nag-fix ka ng value, kasi you are admitted to the balance only. Okay? Admitted to the balance, or pag nag-waive ka, kung magkano man yung utang sa'yo, or yung claim mo. But the point is, in statement 1, the secured creditor will now be considered unsecured. Okay? So yan yung mali. Statement 2, if the debtor and creditor are mutual debtor and creditor of each other, the one debt shall be set off against the other and the balance shall be allowed in the liquidation proceedings. Tama yan. That's correct. Okay? Yun yung compensation. 3, all claims must be duly proven before being paid. Tama din yan. Okay? So which of the following are true? Only 2 of the statements. Yung statements 2 and 3. Yun lang. Alright? So that's number 76. Okay, number 77. Tama ba? Yeah, okay, very good. Tama kayo dito. Number 77, guys, letter C ang sagot natin. Okay, C. Number 78. Ito, medyo mahirap. Okay, Priya. The rehabilitation receiver will leave an officer of the court with the principal duty of maximizing the value of assets the debtor during the rehabilitation proceeding, determining the viability of the rehabilitation of the debtor, preparing, recommending a rehabilitation plan to the court, and implementing the approved rehabilitation plan. Okay? So, yun yung duties ng rehab receiver. Unless appointed by the court pursuant to Section 36, the rehabilitation receiver shall not take over management in control of the debtor in case, shall not take over management and control of the debtor, but may recommend the appointment of a management committee over the debtor in cases provided for in this act. Okay, so yung management committee ang pinupuntirya natin dito. Okay? Now, on the other hand, when appointed pursuant to foregoing section, the management committee shall take the place of management and the governing body of the debtor and assume their rights and responsibilities. Upon motion of an interested party, the court may appoint and direct the rehabilitation receiver to assume the powers of management, or appoint a management committee who will undertake the management of the debtor upon clear and convincing evidence of any of the following circumstances. Okay? Now, 1. actual or imminent danger of dissipation, loss, wastage, destruction of the debtor's assets and other properties, paralyzation of the business operations, or gross mismanagement of the debtor, or fraud or other wrongful conduct, or gross or willful violation of the act by the existing management, owner, etc. Which of the following are false? So guys, yung question na to, ang pinupunteriya lang yan, is kailan ba nakapag-appoint ng management committee? So again guys, the rule is, during the rehabilitation proceeding, yung nagpapaandar ng korporasyon or ng debtor, sila pa rin ang magpapatakbo. Hindi mo sila papatalsikin. Hindi mo sila papalitan. Okay? Generally. Maliban na lang, if you can prove any of these circumstances. Ngayon, kapag napatunayan mo yung isa dyan, isa lang naman, not all of them, kailangan lang isa. Any of them. Then, the receiver can oust the management. Pwedeng siyang pumalit or pwedeng management committee ang pumalit. So, matatanggal na sila, iba na ang magpapaandar ngayon ng debtor natin. Alright? So, again generally, hindi mo tinatanggal yung management, yung old management. Sila pa rin. Maliban na lang if you can prove any of these instances. Kapag na-prove mo to, pwedeng yung rehab receiver or a management committee. Yun ang papalit. Alright? Sige. So, which of the following are false? Wala. Tama lahat yan. Okay? Tama lahat yan. Next. Number 79. Ah, wow. Okay. Tama kayo lahat. Letter C. Okay, letter C. Number 80. Okay, number 80. Very good. Letter C din. Okay? Galing nyo. Yung Priya siguro, yung medyo nahirapan kayo basahin niya yung haba. Okay? Anyway, guys. So, number 81 na tayo. This is government procurement. Okay? So, number 81. Okay? Tama kayo lahat. So, maraming, konti lang ang nagkamali sa inyo dyan. So, the answer is letter C. Alright? Number 82. Okay, number 82. According to the GPRA, every contract shall contain a reservation clause where the head of the agency reserves the right to reject any and all bids, declare a failure of bidding, or not award the contract at all in the following situations. Okay? So, statement 1, if there's prima facie evidence of collusion, siyempre, okay, collusion. Ano yan? Pwedeng ma-exercise yung reservation or matitrigger yung reservation clause dyan. Okay? Collusion between the officers, the bidders, or even people from the outside. Statement 2, if the BAC is found to have succeeded in following the prescribed bidding procedure. Ibig sabihin ng statement 2, guys, sinunod ng BAC yung procedure. Okay, sinunod niya. So, ibig sabihin, hindi mo pwedeng gamitin yung reservation clause doon. Sinunod ng BAC eh. Okay? So, yan yung false. Okay, false yan. False ang statement 2. Statement 3, for any justifiable and reasonable ground, the contract will not redound to the benefit of the government. Okay? Tama yan. So, which of the following are true? True yung statement 1, true yung statement 3. So, therefore, only 2 of the following statements are correct or are true. Yung statement 2, mali yun ha. Bakit? Kasi the BAC is found to have succeeded. So kung succeeded, ibig sabihin, tama yung ginawa nila. Walang dahilan para ma-trigger yung reservation clause. Okay? So next, lapit na tayo guys. Insurance. Number 83. Tama kayo dyan. Okay, letter C ang sagot. Number 84. Insurance, like other contracts, may be rescinded. The requirements are, statement 1, the presence of a valid ground for rescission. Tama naman yun. Diba? Statement 2, the rescission must be coupled with a check for the amount of premiums already paid. Tama rin yan. Okay, tama rin yan. And statement 3, before there is an action in court to enforce, pag non-life, or the right must be exercised during the first 2 years from the policy's date of issue or its last reinstatement, pag life. Kasi may incontestability clause, diba? Which of the following are false? Wala. Guys, tama lahat yan. So, pag mag-rescind ka ng insurance, alam natin, pwedeng may rescission, di ba? May listahan pa tayo doon. But generally, guys, the requirements are these three. Na may ground ka, tapos yung mutual restitution, or well, at least yung restitution ng premiums already paid, at saka yung time limit. Okay? Yan yun. So, guys, for number 84, okay, all of these things are true, ha? All of these things are true. And, syempre, kung true lahat yan, none of them are false. Tama yan lahat. Number 85. Ayun. Okay, dito medyo maraming kamali. Okay, anyway. By the way, this is taken from the bar. Okay, this is a bar question. X owns a house valued at 1.5 million. Okay? Which he had insured against fire for 2 million. He owes Y a sum of money to secure payment thereof. He owes Y a sum of money. And to secure payment thereof, he executed a deed of mortgage on the house. So, real estate mortgage. But without assigning the policy to Y. Okay? For X's failure to pay the loan upon maturity, Y initiated foreclosure proceedings, and in the ensuing public sale, the house was sold by the sheriff to Y. So si Y rin yung yung foreclosing creditor, siya rin yung nakabili sa auction as the highest bidder. Immediately upon the issuance of the certificate of sale in its favor, Y insured the house against fire for 1.7 million. Okay? With another insurance company. Okay? So may insurance si X, may insurance din si Y. Okay? In order to redeem the house, so may right of redemption. Okay? May right of redemption tayo. In order to redeem the house, X borrowed 2 million from Z. So may bagong tao. Okay? And as a security device, he assigned the original policy to Z. Okay? So wala nang insurance si X ngayon kasi inassign na niya kay Y. Okay? Kay Z pala. However, before X could pay his obligation to Y. Okay? Kasi di ba, magre-redeem siya. So pag nag-redeem ka, kailangan mong bayaran. Okay? Kailangan mong bayaran. The house was accidentally and totally burned. Okay? So, consider the following. So again guys, repeat ko lang yun. May utang si X, tapos ang collateral niya yung bahay. Yung bahay na yun, insured. Okay? Kumuha si X ng sarili niya. Now, yung utang niya, hindi niya nabayaran. So, nag-foreclose si Y ngayon. Foreclosure. Binenta, ang naging highest bidder, yung creditor din niya. Yung mortgagee. Okay? Now, nung nabigay yung certificate of sale, but prior to the redemption, so na kay Y, nagkuha rin siya ng sarili niyang insurance. So, dalawa ng insurance niya, yung kay X at yung kay Y. Now, dahil may right of redemption na available, ang ginawa ni X, nangutang pa siya sa ibang tao ulit. Okay? Para may pambayad siya kay Y. Okay? Ngayon, para maging parang as collateral, I guess. Okay? Kasi security arrangement. Yung insurance policy niya, inassign niya yung proceeds doon kay Z, yung inutangan niya. Okay? So, hawak niya yung pera. Okay? Inassign niya yung insurance, hawak niya yung pera, babayaran niya dapat si Y. Ang problema, bago siya makabayad, nasunog yung bahay. Okay? So, may total loss. Nasunog yung bahay. So, ito yung situation. Yun yung situation. Consider the following. Statement 1. X as the owner of the house. Siya meron, di ba? Has insurable interest in the house consisting of his right of redemption. Okay? Tama yun. Okay, tama yun. Bakit? Kasi di ba nag-auction eh. So, hindi na niya hawak yung bahay. Okay, meron na lang siyang right to redeem. Okay, so kaya niyang i-extinguish yung sale na nangyari, yung public auction, by exercising the right of redemption. Okay? So, meron siyang insurable interest. Okay? Meron siyang insurable interest. However, A cannot recover under the fire insurance policy because at the time of the fire, he had assigned the policy to Z already. Tama rin yun. Diba? Remember guys, pag inassign mo na yung insurance policy, wala ka ng interest doon. Okay? Wala na. Inassign mo na eh. Essentially, binenta mo. Okay? Essentially, binenta mo na yung policy. Ganun na nangyari. So, statement 1 guys is correct. Yes, may insurable interest siya. However, hindi na siya pwedeng mag-recover doon sa policy. Dahil, technically, wala na siyang policy. Inassign na niya eh. Alright? So that's statement 1. Statement 2. B. Ay, bakit B? Sorry, nagkamali. Y dapat yan. Y. Okay. Y. As the creditor of X. Y yan ha, guys. Y. As the creditor of X has an insurable interest in the property consisting of his conditional right to become the owner if X fails to redeem it within the redemption period. Tama rin yun. Okay? Di ba remember, nasa kanya yung property, nabenta sa kanya, di ba? Tapos, meron lang redemption period kaya hindi pa ma-consolidate yung ownership niya. However, habang hindi pa nire-redeem, may right, meron siyang insurable interest. Kasi nabenta sa kanya yun eh. Okay? Merong extent na madadamage siya pag yun ay nasunog. Alright? Now, dahil may insurable interest siya, pwedeng kumuha ng insurance. Okay? Nakakuha siya ng insurance, tama. Okay? So, B can recover on the policy he procured because at the time of the fire, X has not redeemed the property yet. Makes sense, di ba? Dahil hindi pa nare-redeem yung property, meron ka pang insurable interest doon. Okay? So, I hope you get that. Okay? That's statement 2. Statement 3. Z. Okay, yung pinagkautangan, yung inutangan ni X para makapagbayad kay Y has no insurable interest in over the house. Okay? Nor does he have any existing interest or inchoate interest founded upon an existing interest or an expectancy coupled with an existing interest. Doon sa bahay, wala. Technically, unsecured creditor siya. Kasi di ba nangutang sa kanya si X. Hindi naman sinangla sa kanya yung bahay. Di ba anong ginawa? Yung policy inassign sa kanya. Pero, that doesn't change the fact na wala siyang insurable interest dun sa bahay na yun. Okay? Ang difference nila ni Y, si Y kasi, one, di ba, naging mortgagee. Tapos, siya pa ang nakabili dun sa public auction. So, talagang meron siyang insurable interest. Whereas, itong si Z, wala talaga. Okay? Kasi, nangutang lang si X sa kanya eh. Unsecured creditor siya ngayon. Okay? Now, C cannot recover. Ba't C? Ito. Z. Z yan dapat ha. Z. I'm sorry. Bakit naging C yun? O, naging A pa. Okay. Siguro nalito na. Pero anyway, yung C guys, yan yung Z. Okay? Yung A, yan yung X. I'm sorry. Okay? Nagkamali ng pag-type. Okay? Anyway. Z cannot recover on the policy assigned by A. Di ba remember, inassign yung policy para magkaroon ng security arrangement. Z cannot recover on the policy assigned by A because the consent of the insurer was not obtained before the transfer of funds. Okay, guys, pag fire insurance, bago mo ma-assign yan, you need the consent of the insurer. Okay? So, hindi makaka-recover si Z because one, wala siyang insurable interest ng sa bahay. And number two, besides, wala naman sinabi, di ba? Na hiningi nila yung consent ng insurer. Okay? So, hindi makaka-recover. So, yung policy ngayon na kinuha ni X, hindi siya makaka-recover kasi inassign na niya. Pero si Z, hindi rin makakakuha dun sa insurance dahil wala siyang insurable interest. And hindi nila pina-approve hindi nila kasi pina-approve kay insurer. So, yun yung explanation dun sa number. Ano mo number to? Number 85. So, guys, statements 1, 2, and 3, tama yun. Okay? Which of the following are false? None of the following are false. Right? So, ano nga pag-aralan mo to? Okay? Number 86. 86. Labor standard. Okay? Madali lang ito. Galing nyo. Okay? Number 86, letter C ang sagot natin. Okay? Number 87. Simple lang din. Okay, number 87, letter C rin ang sagot. Okay? Next, SSS. Number 88. Ano ba kasi 88? Oh, mali kayo sa 88. Okay. Number 88, guys. Sorry. Yan. According to SSS, employment means any service performed by an employee for his employer except. So, alin daw ang hindi employment? Okay? 1. Services where there is no employer-employee relationship. O di siyempre, walang employment doon. Okay? 2. Service performed in the employ of the Philippine government. Wala ring employment doon. Kasi separate, iba yung rules iba yung social security ng government employees. Diba? GSIS yun. So, kapag government worker ka, hindi considered as employment yun. Okay? And 3. Service performed in the employ of a foreign government. Hindi rin. Kasi may sarili rin sila doon. Okay? So, guys, So number 88, tama yan lahat. Okay? Sorry, which of the following are false? Okay? None of the following statements are false. Kasi tama sila lahat. Alright? So, number 88, letter D ang sagot natin. Number 89. Sorry, number 89. Tama ba kayo dito? Ay, okay, marami yung tama. According to SSS, okay, medyo mahaba lang to, bear with me. A covered member shall qualify to receive monetary benefits on account of 1. Sickness. Okay? Guys, tama yan. Okay? Tama yan ha, sickness. Ito yung requirement ng sickness. Okay? Kaya ko lang nilagay dyan, pang ano lang, panindak. Pero tama yan guys. Okay, tama yan. Okay? 2. Permanent disability. Okay? Tama rin yan guys. Okay? Nasa batas mismo yan. Tama yan. Okay? Nilagay lang natin dyan para again, pag pinag-aralan mo, at least may idea ka na nangyayari yan. Okay? Statement 3. Retirement. Guys, tama rin yan. Okay? So guys, essentially, itong number 89, okay, which of the following are false? None of them are false. They were lifted from the law. Okay, they were lifted from the law. Ginawa ko lang yan para sindakin kayo. Kasi ang haba nito. Okay? Pero tama yan lahat. Ha? So, please go over this. Tama yan lahat. Okay? Number 90. Ano na ba? Consumer. Consumer protection. Tama kayo lahat dito. Very good. Number 90, letter C ang sagot natin. Number 91. Okay. Tama rin lahat. Galing nga. Okay? At least, di ba? At least. Yung mga items lang na na nagkamali, I think medyo nalito lang. But I am confident na alam mo naman talaga yung sagot. Okay? Tinamad ka lang siguro magbasa. Okay? Tinamad ka lang siguro magbasa. So, this is number 91. We go now to number 92. Okay? Intellectual property. Oh, okay. Medyo nahirapan yata kayo dito Sige. PNP Directorate on Research and Development, Clothing and Criminalistics Equipment Division. Apa na pangalan no? DRD, CCED. Assume responsibility of updating the designs of the PNP cap device and badge. Okay? Now, the PNP, DRD, CCED, okay, collaborated with X to create new designs. By the way, guys, this is a Supreme Court case. Okay? The designs of the PNP cap device and badge. X volunteered and rendered his services for free. X drew the designs based on PNP specifications and instructions. And these were eventually approved by the PNP. Okay. Upon approval of the designs, PNP conducted a public bidding for the procurement. Okay? Of the new PNP cap device and badge. Bidding proceeded as planned, and among those who participated was XYZ Inc., chaired by X himself. So, si X ang may-ari ng kumpanya na yan. XYZ Inc., which submitted the second highest bid. O, diba? Ano yan, diba? Second highest bid. Presented before the PNP Bids and Awards Committee the Certificate of Copyright Registration over the PNP cap and device issued in favor of X. Okay? So, pina-register pala ni X. Yung copyright, guys, hindi mo kailangan pa-register, pero you can. Okay lang yun. No other manufacturer attempted to produce the PNP cap device and badge bearing the new design for fear of copyright infringement. Kasi merong Diba? Merong may hawak ng Certificate of Copyright. Okay? Hence, the contract was not awarded to the winning bidder. Kasi, diba, sino ba dapat ang may winning bid? Diba yung lowest calculated responsive bid dapat. Okay? But to XYZ Inc. Okay? In-award na kay XYZ Inc. kasi nasa kanya daw yung Certificate of Copyright. Okay? Now, tinry i-challenge ng PNP. So, ito yun. Consider the following. Statement 1. The head of the DRD-CCED can write the National Library or file a case with the Regional Trial Court and successfully request for the cancellation of the certificate registration of the PNP cap device and badge. Okay? That's false. Bakit? Sino bang author? Okay? Tunay na author siya. So, wala kang ground para ipa-cancel. Wala. Okay? Wala kang ground para ipa-cancel. Dahil nga, si X, siya ang gumawa niyan. Okay? Siya ang gumawa. Although may instruction, siya yung gumawa. So, parang commission work. Okay? Parang commission work. Remember, pag commissioned work, sino bang may copyright? Yung author pa din. Okay? Meron lang right yung nag-commission dun sa product, dun sa item itself, pero yung copyright over that product or that work is still belongs to the author. Okay? So statement 1 is wrong kasi walang ground. Okay? Statement 2. It was PNP which supplied the ideas and concept, while X was merely commissioned to use his skill and labor to concretize what was envisioned by the PNP. Therefore, X cannot be considered the author of the new designs, either in whole or in part. Guys, remember, copyright protects the expression, not the idea. Sige, yung PNP ang may idea, pero sino ba ang may expression? Sino ang naglagay? Sino ang nag-alis from the realm of thought at nilagay niya sa realidad? Diba si X? Remember that, guys? That's a concept in copyright. Copyright law will protect the expression, not the idea. So, mali yung statement 2. Kasi even if PNP yung nag-commission, kasi may idea sila, sino ba yung nag-express? Si X. So, siyang may-ari ng copyright. Bakit? Dahil siyang author. Alright? So, remember that, ha? Statement 3. PNP, despite being a government entity, is also entitled to its own copyright. False yan. Okay, there's no copyright in government. Okay? Well, generally, meron sometimes, but generally speaking, the government cannot have copyright over its official stuff. Okay? So kaya, di ba, yung mga batas, yung mga Republic Act ninyo, okay? Hindi pwedeng sabihin ng gobyerno na may copyright kami dyan. Kasi kami ang author. Hindi pwede. Okay? Hindi pwede yun. And that argument cannot be used in this case. Alright? So again, statement 1, mali yun kasi walang ground. Statement 2, mali yun kasi nga, the copyright protects the expression, not the idea. And statement 3, mali yan because there is generally no copyright in government works. Alright? So, number 92, all of the following statements are false. Okay? So guys, remember that one. This one is also a Supreme Court case. Okay? PhilSCAP is a non-profit society of composers, authors, publishers that own public performance rights over the copyrighted musical works of its members. So yung PhilSCAP, guys, di ba marami tayong mga OPM artists. Yung PhilSCAP is a rights management organization. Meaning, yung mga artists na to, in-assign nila sa PhilSCAP yung pag-collect ng license fee. Tapos, PhilSCAP na rin yung merong authority magdemanda kung merong mga copyright infringement. So, nagsishare na lang ng royalties yung artist para makakonsentrate na lang sila sa paggawa at pagkanta rather than sila pa magpupulis. So, yung PhilSCAP, yun na yung parang tagabantay nila. Kaya sila right management organization. Okay? It also owns the right to license public performances in the Philippines of copyrighted foreign musical works. Pwede rin yun. Kasi may samahan pa yan. Okay? It is deputized to enforce and protect the copyright works of its members or affiliates by issuing licenses, collecting royalties, and or license fees from anyone who publicly exhibits or performs music belonging to PhilSCAP worldwide. PhilSCAP's worldwide repertoire. A PhilSCAP representative monitored between July and September 2008 the branches of, inuman to, Sizzling Plate Restaurant along Session Road and along abandoned extension in Baguio City. Okay, by the way, guys, totoong case to. Anyway, both of which were owned by X. Played copyrighted music owned by PhilSCAP. So, di ba, syempre, pag napunta kayo sa mga ganitong lugar, may tugtog, di ba? May tugtog. May sounds yan, may sound. Ngayon, it just so happened na merong taga PhilSCAP na nagsusurveillance. Okay? Hindi siya nag-iikot para lang magwalwal. Nagsusurveillance talaga siya. So, umikot-ikot siya sa mga bars, ganyan. Yun, nadatnan niya ngayon itong restaurant na to, na nagpapatugtog ng music ng PhilSCAP or artist ng PhilSCAP. Okay? So sinulatan. Kasi, wala naman. Hindi naman sila nagpag-usap sa PhilSCAP, pero, nag-play sila ng music. So, essentially, ang sinasabi ni PhilSCAP, copyright infringement. Yan. Okay? So, unauthorized music daw to avoid prosecution. Siyempre, Si X, may ayaw niya, hindi niya pinansin. So, dinimanda ngayon. Okay, nagdemanda, copyright infringement. Nung dinimanda, sabi ni X, X denied playing copyrighted music within its establishment. It claimed that its establishment played whatever was being broadcasted on the radio. Okay? So, yung narinig pala nitong PhilSCAP person na nag-iikot, hindi ito banda ha, hindi banda yung narinig niya tumutugtog. Narinig niya may sounds dun sa bar o dun sa place na yan, kasi radyo pala yun. Okay, radyo. Nagpapatugtog ng radyo. Itong si X dun sa kanyang bar. Okay, dinimanda siya. So, yun ang situation guys ha. Nagpapatugtog siya ng radyo dun sa bar. Tapos narinig ni PhilSCAP, ang sabi ay copyright infringement yan. Alright, ganun ang situation. So, statement 1. The regional trial court can dismiss the complaint because Section 184I of the Intellectual Property Code exempts public performances by a club or institution for charitable or educational purposes, provided they are not profit making and they do not charge admission fees. Okay? Guys, okay sana to kasi wala naman talaga entrance fee daw sila eh. Kaso nga lang, hindi naman yan charitable or educational purpose. Di ba? Inuman nga yung nangyayari dun. So, hindi pwede. Hindi pwede yan. Statement 2. The regional trial court can dismiss the complaint because the act of playing radio broadcast containing copyrighted music through the use of loudspeakers. Kasi, diba, yung sound, meron ng speaker dyan, kaya mo lang naririnig. Is not in itself a performance. Okay? Also, X is already exempt from securing a license since the radio station that broadcasted the copyrighted music already secured one from PhilSCAP. So, ang sinasabi is, nagbayad na yung radyo. Kasi di ba gano'n naman talaga, may license talaga yung radyo para i-play yung mga songs. Tapos babayaran ng royalty. Alright? Ang sinasabi nitong case na to, itong statement na to, bakit mo pagbabayarin uli? Di ba? Eh yung radyo naman nagbayad na. Ang ginagawa ko lang naman is in-on ko lang yung radyo. Kung anong tinutugtog nila, yun ang naririnig nyo. Alright? Guys, hindi yun gano'n ha. Yung statement 2, false din yan. Okay? False din yan. Bakit? Kasi, ang sabi ng Supreme Court natin, okay, meron sila, pero binobroadcast mo pa rin. Okay? Binobroadcast mo pa rin yun. It is considered another broadcast. So, kapag nagpi-play ka ng radyo sa isang establishment now, it's considered another broadcast. So, ibig sabihin, kailangan mo kumuha ng license sa kanila. And in fact, guys, kahit yung kunyari, yung Spotify, pinatugtog mo sa, sa tindahan nyo, you need another license for that from PhilSCAP. Okay? Ganun yan. Anyway, so statement 2, mali yun ha? Mali yung reasoning. The regional trial court cannot use this reasoning because it is considered a new broadcast. Statement 3, the regional trial court can dismiss the complaint because the radio reception transmitted through loudspeakers within the restaurant. X does not directly charge a fee for playing the broadcast over the speaker, and such reception cannot be said to be aimed to enhance profit by providing entertainment to the public, particularly customers who pay not for the music, but for the dining experience. Okay guys, mali daw yun. Okay? So, kahit na wala kang fee, ito rin ginagawa mo, okay? Ito rin ginagawa mo is profit making. Kasi nga, precisely because yung ambience, okay, yung experience ang binabayaran ng customer dyan, kasama yung music doon. So, yung music mo is part of the experience na binabayaran nila. So, therefore, this is not fair use. Okay? Kasi may charge eh. Indirectly. Okay? Indirectly may charge. But still, that doesn't change the fact na for profit ang ginagawa mo. So, therefore, the regional trial court cannot dismiss the complaint based on this reasoning. So, statements 1, 2, and 3, guys, are all false. Okay? So, may copyright infringement dito na naganap. Okay? So, galing So, ingat kayo ha, pagka nagpapatugtog kayo ng mga ganyan. Tapos, kumikita kayo ng pera. Okay, so we're now at number 94. Guys, malapit na. Okay, konti na lang. 94, of course. Ay, wow. Tama kayo lahat. Okay, very good. Very good. Letter C ang sagot natin, number 94. Number 95. Ito, medyo, medyo nahirapan yata kayo dito. So, DOH Administrative Order 2012-12, okay, authorizes ARLED of DOH to conduct on-site visits and inspection of facilities such as hospitals, etc. Okay? So, inspection, visitorial power, essentially. To aid the ARLED in its visitorial function, it seeks to document its on-site visit through photos and videos to facilitate resolution of complaints and imposition of appropriate penalties. So guys, ito tine-check ng DOH kung compliant ba yung health facility. Kasi syempre, bago ka mag-operate ng health facility, syempre hindi ka na lisensya sa DOH, diba? So, ito yung way ni DOH to ensure kung ikaw ba ay sumusunod dun sa mga patakaran nila. Alright? Sige. Now, gusto raw nila, kasi instead na na tinitingnan lang nila, gusto nila documentation. Basically, i-record. Okay? Now, statement 1. The ARLED can take photos and videos during on-site visits without requesting the consent of the authorized, without the consent of the authorized representatives of the health facilities in persons because whose video and photo will be taken. True yan. Kasi mandate ng batas. Di ba? Exception yon? Exception yan sa DPA, di ba? Kapag kahit sensitive personal information pa yan, basta may mandate ng batas, pwede mong gawin. Ano yung mandate? So ito, administrative order. Okay? Now, statement 2. ARLED can use the photos and videos taken in court and other administrative bodies. Yes. Diba? When you, pag mag-set up ka ng case, or yung pagka you have to establish a right or a violation, pwede. Diba? Pwede mong gamitin yung, you can process data as long as they are going to be used for filing a case. Okay? So, tama yan. Ano yung mouse ko yan? Statement 3. Because of the nature of its mandate, data privacy laws are not applicable to ARLED in taking and use of photos and videos on on-site visits. Ito guys, mali ito. Okay? Kaya gaya nga na sinabi natin kanina, yung statements 1 and 2, pwede nilang gawin because the data privacy law allows it. So regardless of kung anong function na ginagawa nila, applicable pa rin yung Data Privacy Act natin. Okay? So, yes, pwede nilang i-process. It is only because the Data Privacy Act allows it. Okay? You have to consider the principles there. You have to consider sections 12 and 13. Alright? Na processing ng personal information, processing ng sensitive personal information. So, statement number 3 is wrong, is false because data privacy laws are still applicable to ARLED. Okay? So, number 90, ano to? Sorry. Number 95, only 2 are true. Statements 1 and 2. Okay? Number 96. Pero haba naman yan. Oh, don't worry. Ganun talaga. Okay, ganun talaga. X teaches in college. And it is the school's policy to require recording of online classes and uploading the same to Google Classroom. Okay? At this point in time, for not recording and uploading your online class, X is now facing an administrative hearing in school. So, merong mandate, may memo sa school na yung mga teacher, pag nagturo ka online, kailangan mo i-record at i-upload. Hindi niya ginawa yun. Okay? Hindi niya ginawa. Okay? Now, siyempre gahanap siyang depensa. In seeking to justify the refusal, X is seeking clarification from the NPC on whether recording of online classes and uploading the same to Google Classroom are a violation of privacy law. So, violation daw ba ng Data Privacy Act yung pinapagawa sa kanya? Kasi syempre, kung violation ng Data Privacy Act yun, pwede niyang tamlihan. Okay? Consider the following. 1. The Supreme Court characterized school-student relationship as contractual in nature. Tama yan. The NPC refers to this contract between the school and the student as the educational framework, which encompasses all activities and operations of the school may perform in line with the student's education. Any processing of personal information to fulfill the obligations of the parties within the educational framework is permissible as provided in Section 12B of the BPA. Ano yan, sir? True yan. That is true. Okay? True yan, statement 1. Okay? Yan yung reasoning talaga. Kung bakit pwedeng mag-collect or mag-process ng data ang school nyo because it is part, as long as it is within the educational framework. Okay? Ano yung educational framework? Yan yung contract ng school at ng estudyante. Alright? Sige. Statement 2. In case of processing sensitive personal information within, yung kanina, personal information lang. Ngayon, sensitive naman. Okay? A sensitive within the educational framework, which includes the individual. Okay? Education such as grades, performance awards, yan. Sensitive na yon. Okay? Sensitive personal information. Such processing is still permitted under 13A of the BPA. This is so because upon enrollment, the student and the school are deemed to have executed a contract imbued with public interest that necessarily carries with it the consent of both parties. Okay? So guys, statement 2, true din yan. Okay, true din yan. Okay? So, pwede kang mag-collect ng personal information, pwede kang mag-collect ng sensitive personal information as long as it is within the educational framework. Okay? Next, statement 3. As such, educational institutions may process personal data to achieve the purposes within its educational framework without need for consent of the data subject, which includes students, faculty, and staff. Therefore, the complaint requirement of recording online classes and uploading the same to Google Classroom is not violative of one's data privacy. All of them are true. So guys, study this. Okay? Study yung mga mahaba. Take note of what they say, what they are, ano yung situation. Alright? Kasi they explain a lot about your special law. Okay? Yeah. So number 96, all of the statements are true. Next, number 97. Lapit na guys, malapit na tayo. Number 97. Ay, okay, maraming mali. Brad, using his own laptop, sent an email to Lester offering him to give his only condominium unit at Serendra in BGC. Lester read said email on his Samsung Galaxy Flip 5G. Thereafter, Lester acknowledged the email and accepted the offer of Brad via direct message on Brad's Instagram account. Yung Brad hit pala, ano kayo doon? Okay? Brad texted Lester via his iPhone 14 Pro Max. Okay. Dalawa cellphone ni Lester. Anyway, consider the... Brad pala to. Okay. So, consider the following. Statement 1. The contract contains the electronic signatures of Brad and Lester. Okay? Yes. Kasi guys, yung electronic signature, hindi lang basta yun yung pirma na electronic. Okay? The electronic signature, guys, is anything that identifies you. Or at least identifies you as the sender or the addressee or the originator. Alright? Meron yun. Okay, meron yan. Yung sa text, meron. Yung sa email, meron yan. Okay, meron yan. Electronic signature yan. Ang concept lang dyan, guys, is the electronic signature is not just yung signature, yung talagang pirma. Hindi lang yun, ha? It is actually anything that identifies you. Okay? Anyway, statement 2. The contract is valid as to both Brad and Lester. Avoid ito. Okay? Okay? Bakit sir void? Ano naman yan, di ba? The functional equivalent of something in writing, electronic document, electronic data messages. Yes, that's true. However, guys, tingnan mo, give, di ba? Give is only condominium unit. Donation to. Di ba? Give gift yan, gift. So, donation. Ano man dinodonate? Real property. Real property yan. So, real property dinodonate mo, hindi enough na in writing lang. Dapat public instrument. Kaya siya void. Okay? Void to. So, hindi to valid. Statement 2 is false. Statement 3. The elements of the contract are in the form of an electronic data message or electronic document. True yan. Okay? Kasi obvious naman yan. Most likely, doon kayo sa statement 2 nagkalito dito. Alright? So, again guys, number 97. Our answer here is letter C. Alright? Sige. Number 98. Ay, okay. Okay. According to the Electronic Commerce Act, Okay, guys, so electronic data message. Okay, electronic data message refers to information generated, sent, received, stored by electronic, optical, or a similar means. In relation thereto, okay, in relation thereto, statement 1, electronic document, so definition of terms lang po, refers to information or the representation of information, data, figures, symbols, and other modes of written expression described or however represented by which a right is established or an obligation extinguished, or by which a fact may be proved and affirmed, which is received, recorded, transmitted, stored, processed, retrieved, or produced electronically. That's the definition of an electronic data message. Statement 2. Electronic key refers to any distinctive mark, characteristic, and or sound in electronic form, representing the identity of the person attached to or logically associated with the electronic data message or electronic document, or any methodology or procedures employed by or adopted by a person and executed or adopted by such person with the intention of authenticating or approving the electronic data message or document. Guys, kakasabi lang natin, anything that is used to identify you is your electronic signature. Okay? Hindi yan yung electronic key. Okay? Electronic key, guys, is something else. Okay? It's part of cryptography. Okay? Yung ano to, asymmetric dapat yan. There's a private and a public key. Anyway, ang point ko is statement 2 gives the definition of something else. But it is not an electronic key. What is statement 2? That's the definition of an electronic signature. Okay? Electronic signature yan, ha? Next. Statement 3. An electronic signature, mali na, refers to a secret code which secures and defends sensitive personal information that crosses over public channels in a form decipherable only with a matching electronic key. Statement 3, guys, gives you the definition of what? An electronic key. Okay? So, statement 2 is the electronic signature. Statement 3 is the electronic key. Okay? So, for number, ano ba to? For number 98, guys, only 2 are false. Okay? Yung statement 1, true yon, tama yon. Statements 2 and 3, baliktad sila. Okay, baliktad dapat. Alright? Okay, number 99. Okay, ba, lapit na. Okay, RA 11032, ease of doing business. Okay, in its IRR, aims to attain its purposes through various mechanisms. Ito naman, marami yan. One of which, the report card service, one of which, the report card survey is envisioned as a holistic tool that shall measure the effectiveness of the Citizens Charter in reducing regulatory burdens, in the impact of the human resource system, and programs in delivering efficient government service. As such, the objectives of the report card survey are 2. Statement 1. Obtain feedback on how the provisions of the Citizens Charter and RA 11032 are being followed and how an agency in any branch of the government is performing. Statement 2. Obtain information or estimates of hidden costs incurred by applicants or requesting parties to access the government service, which may include but are not limited to bribes in payment of fares. All right. Statement 3. Provide for the basis of the awards of grants, recognitions, and or incentives for excellent deliveries of services in a government agency. Okay. Sir, parang tama naman yung lahat. Okay, guys. Remember, balik ka sa statement 1. Okay? Yung statement 3 at statement 2, walang problema niya. True yan, true. Here may statement 1. Obtain feedback on how the provisions of the Citizens Charter and RA 11032 are being followed and how an agency in any branch of the government is performing. Doon tayo medyo nagkamali. Remember, guys, the Ease of Doing Business Act, yung batas na to, RA 11032, is only effective against the executive branch of government. Okay? Makikita mo sa IRR yon. Okay? So, RA 11032 is only effective against the executive branch. Okay? So, hindi nila pwedeng idama yung judicial branch, yung Supreme Court and the mga korte, Hindi rin nila pwedeng idamay yung Congress, yung legislative branch natin. Hindi pwede. Okay? But, pwede nilang sundin kung gusto nila. But, yung IRR nito, at saka yung batas itself, it does not bind yung mga agency na yon. Yung mga branch of government na yon. So, ang nagpamali dito is how an agency in any branch of government. Dapat executive branch lang. Alright? So, number 99, guys, only one is false. Letter C. Again ha, dapat executive branch lang. Executive branch lang. Hindi pwedeng judiciary, hindi pwedeng legislative. Okay? Sige. And last but not the least, naku, nagkamali pa. Sayang. Diba guys, I think generally okay naman yung mga yung survey na to. Anyway, consider the following. Statement 1. If a government office or agency fails to approve or disapprove an original application or request for the issuance of a license, clearance, permit, certification, or authorization within the prescribed processing time, said application or request shall automatically be extended. Mali yun. Okay? Original application, guys. Original application. Hindi po yun automatically extended. Yun ay, pag original application, it is deemed approved. Okay, yun ang tandaan ha. Pag original application, deemed approved. Okay? Statement 2. If the government office or agency fails to act on an application or request for renewal, okay, application or request for renewal of a license, permit, clearance, certification, or authorization, subject to renewal within the prescribed processing time, said license, clearance, permit, certification, or authorization shall be malito. Shall automatically be extended. Okay? So, pagka original application, deemed approved. Pagka request for renewal, deemed extended. Alright? Pinagbaliktad ko lang. Again, original application, deemed approved. Pag renewal, okay? Pag renewal, automatically extended. Alright? So, number 100, our answer should be both are false. Okay, napagbaliktad lang. Okay, so that's it. So guys, good luck sa malapit na. Get enough rest and I will pray for you. Okay, I will pray for you guys. And get enough rest and I'm sure everything will fall into place. Thanks guys.